So, hello everyone. This is Hiren. So, welcome to the YouTube channel. Okay. So, we already have started. So, welcome to the subject channel on the subject that is software engineering. So, we are so much ahead. Like we have completed the two chapters, introduction of the software engineering, and then we have completing the software engineering processes. Okay, so in the last video we have started the chapter number 3, that is the perspective process models. Okay, in which so we have discussed about detail about the what this chapter is all about. So until now, so let us have the quick recap on that. So until now, what we were focusing on only the software. So in the chapter number 2 we were focusing on the software processes, also the quality of the software. We have seen the CMM models. Now the chapter number 3, uh, we will see the different types of processes which we will be identifying as a models, which we will be identifying as a model software models. Okay, so what exactly the model is? Model you can consider as a one type of structure, or one type of framework, or you can say the one type of process. Let's say if you want to achieve your goal in anything, there are multiple ways to do that. If you want to achieve your task, there are multiple ways to achieve your task or complete your thing. The similar thing applies, the similar thing applies into software processes. Software processes are considered as a one type of models to create a software, to develop a software. I will be more concise on the word rather than creating. We can say the developing a software. Okay, so there are different types of software processes available right now, right? So we are treating as a different types of software models, we can say that. Okay, the one model we have already seen, that is a generic process framework. Okay, that we have already seen again into the yesterday's video and on the last video. Now we will see the more type of framework, more type of models, because according to the software requirement, according to the software risk available into the different softwares. If I give you the example, the software which deals with the network, the software which deals with the banking have more risk included in that. So it will be possible that generic process framework will not be applicable on that. So we have to adapt the different types of models, we have to adapt the different types of software processes, right? Okay, so we'll be seeing the different types of models. So we already have seen the generic process model, yes, which have this phases: communication, planning, modeling, construction, deployment. We have already seen that in yesterday's video also, so we are not covering it again. Okay, so you can refer to the yesterday's video. Okay, yes, we already have seen that modeling, what exactly the modeling is, in the different types of modeling: architecture design, user interface design, component level design. You can refer to yesterday's video. That's the traditional process models, which we see as the perspective process model. Okay, so this was the traditional waterfall model, we can say that, the which have the communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. Yes, communication involves project requirements gathering, planning involves estimating, scheduling and tracking, modeling involves analysis and design, construction include code and test, deployment includes the delivery of your work. Yes, this is the part we already have seen that. Yes, now let us see more into the detail that we have not seen into the yesterday's video, right? Like, waterfall model is the oldest software lifecycle model and best understood by the upper management. See, the first model developed by the ACI, that was the waterfall model. Just this is the what we have seen up till now. Okay, this is the oldest software lifecycle model and the best understood by the upper management. Here, upper management we are talking about. In the company there are different segments like the team of developers, a team of testers, team of project managers, and like this project manager and the CEO are the upper management. Okay, so this is the well understood by the upper management. Then used when the requirements are well understood and risk is low. So this is the very most important thing to be taken care. You can be asked into the exam like when to use the waterfall model and when not to use the waterfall model. So take it care into your mind when your requirements are more clear, when you have your requirements are more clear with your client, which is exactly not possible at all at first time, to be more frank with you, right? Still, let's see, if you want to create a software, your requirements are, you have captured perfect requirements, there are minimal chances of changes into the future onto the requirements. Okay, so, and the second thing is risk is very much low. So here we are talking about risk, as I have taken the example of the software of the banking management, includes the security, includes the fraud management, includes, there are so many parameters, there are accounting management, your account should be so much safe from the hacker, so it's which includes so much of risk on that. So when the waterfall model is useful, when you have requirements captured properly, you have requirement well understood, this, that is the first thing. The second thing is there is a minimal risk available into your project requirement, then and then you can opt for the waterfall model, because there are less chances which deals with the risk in the waterfall model. If you have captured not, if you have not captured your requirement properly, uh, there is a less scope in this model to change into the requirement and adapt the change into your model. Okay, then the workflow is a linear, like a sequential. Yes, we can see into the figure, the workflow is linear, one by one, it's like a flow of a water. That is why we are treating it as a waterfall model. Okay, then used often with well and well defined applications or enhancement to the current with software. Okay, so this is the scenarios when we are using. Yes, as I already told you, when you have already well defined requirements with you. Apart from this, sometimes what happen, let's say a software is already built, let's say in your college library, a library software is already there. What you want to do, just you want to upgrade the technology, or you want to migrate the technology from .NET to Java or .NET to Python. Okay, so here already software is built up, you already have the features, you already have the functionality, you already know what to know, you just have to implement the code. So in this scenario also, the waterfall model suits best according to the situation. So I hope you are getting my point, where the waterfall model is more suitable, to be, yes, to be clear and concise, where the requirements are more clear and risk is low, workflow is linear, and the use with well defined adaptations or the enhancement to the current software. Okay, then we have waterfall model problems we have, that is that doesn't supports the iteration, so changes can cause a confusion. See, that is why we have taken the example, when you have your requirement on your hand, when you understand your requirement fully completely, then and then you can opt for this model. If you have change in your requirement, there is nothing any scope, there is no much scope to go back. Let me give you the example. Let's say you have, in this model you have captured your requirement, you have stored into the SRS document, you are giving this requirement to this planning team has defined the plans, this planning team is giving this. So so let's say the planning team have developed the plan how to like execute the project and how to track the project. Then this planning team will give this plan to modeling team have defined the models and the diagrams, and the modeling team defining the given the documents to construction team. Now construction team develop the code, like test in Java, Python. Let's say in when you are developing a software or when you are testing a software, you identify that this is the feature you have built that should not be built in that way. Okay, you find a change in that. Or consider the second scenario, when you are developing, a client saying there is a change in a requirement. So ultimately, like you are developing, you already have covered most of the 50 percentage of your software development life cycle. Okay, now when you are developing a software, you are half the done on developing a software. Now there is a change in a requirement, So what ultimately happens, you have to change everything from this communication, then planning, then modeling and construction scenario. Every team is affected, every team is affected. So as I told earlier, there are very much limited chances of change in this waterfall model. If you change, each and every phase will be affected. Ultimately your time will be affected, ultimately your budget will be affected. So are you getting my point? Yes or no? So this is the scenario I'm talking about. The problem with the waterfall model doesn't support the iteration, so changes can cause the confusion, right? Then they're difficult for customer to state all the requirements explicitly and upfront. Okay, so what we are saying, when the waterfall model is suitable, when you have the all the requirements, when the customer give you all the requirement. See, in the real time this is very much less feasible in all of the scenarios. Yes, in the some scenarios it is feasible, but most of the scenarios it is not possible, because customers knows the basic requirements. Once the software will be developed in gradually, he will when we show our software to him or her, then he or she will identify, no, I want this feature, I want this feature, and I want this also. Are you getting my point? So customers even don't know exact all the 100% requirement upfront. Okay, the requirements comes in the gradual manner. The requirements may include the features when we develop a software new and new. So so this is a one point. Difficult for customers to state all requirements explicitly and upfront. So this is the one point that needs to be clear. Okay, then requires a customer patience, because the working version of a program doesn't occur until the final phase. Ultimately, when you are developing a software, like let's say in each and every phase, let's say when you are completing this phase, you have to show to the customer. When you are completing this phase, you have to show to this customer. When you are completing this phase, you have to show to the customer again. And when you are completing, so each and every phase you have to give some output, and that output will be treated as a deliverables. I'm talking a term that is a deliverables. So that output is nothing but a one type of deliverable. You have to provide some sort of deliverables to the customer. Okay, so what the sentence is saying, that requires a customer patience, because working version of a program doesn't occur until the final phase. So until you complete this construction phase, customers won't able to see actual implementation. Okay, so we need a patience of a customer until we complete this phase, because in this until the modeling, customers does not able to see anything. So when do you like complete 50% of your coding, he will able to see, he will able to visualize, okay, I will get able to this much of thing right now, right? So this is a scenario we were talking about, right? Then we have sorry then the last point is, problems can be somewhat elevated in the model through the addition of the feedback loops. Okay, so these were the problems in the waterfall model, but this problem can be removed, or this we can use this model optimizely if we add something into this model. If we add something into this model, now what that something would be, and that something would be that feedback loops. Okay, so let us take the example. So what we are doing, we are applying this feedback. Are you can you able to see this arrows? So this is nothing but the feedback loop. So what it is ultimately saying, that by completing each and every phase, we will be providing feedback, we will be matching that particular thing with the requirement. Let's say when you are capturing the requirement, when you give the requirement to the planning phase, that planning phase will give feedback, will cross verify all the planning with the requirement. So there will be a feedback loop. Okay, there will be the feedback loop between the planning and the communication. Similarly, there will be the feedback loop between the modeling and the planning. There will be the feedback between construction and the modeling. So ultimately all these things are into the loop. So there will be the minimal chance of error. Then there will be the minimal chance of error in this particular waterfall model with the loop. Okay, so uh, this is how this waterfall model can be optimized with the feedback, we can say. let's say once the planning phase complete the task, he will give feedback to the communication. They will cross verify the planning with the requirement and will give feedback to the again planning. Okay, similarly when planning completed, the planning phase will give the documents to modeling team will verify the documents and again give feedback to the planning. If there is any change, again planning change will change to that, give to the modeling phase. And let's say if planning is changing something, again it will give back to the requirement will again change that. So are you getting my point or not? Let's say if you have something change over here, that change will be reflected to the planning with this loop, that change will be reflected to this communication with this loop. So all these things are in the loop, all these things are in the loop. So ultimately a change in a one phase ultimately reflects to the all the phase. Let's say if you are changing over here, that change will be reflected over here with the loop, here with the loop, with the here with the loop also. So uh, this waterfall model can be optimized. This waterfall model can be optimized with a loop added in this diagram. Okay. So so this is the very basic of. So quickly summarizing all this thing, yes, this is a waterfall model. We already have seen that different phases. The problems with the waterfall model, yes, it's the oldest life cycle model used when the requirements are well understood and risk is low. Workflow is a linear in the fashion, used often with a well-defined adaptations or enhancement to the current software. Doesn't support the iteration, so changes can cause a confusion. Difficult for customers to state all the requirements explicitly upfront. Requires a customer patience because working version of a program doesn't occur until the final phase. Problems can be somewhat elevated in the model through the addition of the feedback. Yes, this model can be optimized and can use with the feedback loop added into that, right? Okay, so this is the example of the feedback loop. We have seen that. So I hope you might get the questions. I hope you are more comfortable with now with this topic. So if you have any doubts, you can put your comments onto that. I will check the comments and will get back to you onto your answer. So I hope until now you all of you are clear with the first software process model. So in your exam, you will be asked like what exactly the waterfall model is. Explain the waterfall model with a loop back again. In the software engineering, it can be the question can be asked in the real time scenarios, like you will be given a scenarios like let's say a grocery vendor is coming to him. He already have a software, he already have all the requirements, so which model will be suitable? So you have to identify the words. He have proper requirements, he already have the software. Yes, we have discussed that. If you want to rebuild the software, waterfall model is good. If the requirements are properly captured, the waterfall model is good. So it can be asked in the real-time scenarios as well. The question can be asked in that way. What are the problems in the waterfall model? Why we are not opting the waterfall model? Why the waterfall model is not optimal for the risk management projects like banking software? So all these questions can be asked in the exam. The questions can be mapped into the real-time scenarios as well. So you have to take care all this thing, right? Okay. Then okay. So we will be moving towards the next slide. That is the next model. That is an incremental model. That is an incremental model. So so until now what we have seen that is a waterfall model. Your whole software process will be divided into the different phases from communication, planning, modeling, construction and the deployment. Your whole software process will be divided into these parts, right? Are you clear with that? Done. Now so in the real time scenarios, as we have already discussed, it might happen that customers don't have all the requirements upfront on a first. It might be possible that customers have only initial requirements, only 30 to 40% requirement. So what we need to do exactly, we have to develop the small module. Let's say if we are developing anything like, so the requirements are not fully captured, so we want to divide whole your software into the components. Let's say we will be developing a login module. Let's say if you want to develop an e-commerce website, but your requirements is not fully captured, you do not have your whole requirement captured with you. Okay, then you have to divide your project. Let's say you will be doing a module number one, that is your login. Module number two is your um, module number one will be register and the login. Module number two uh, Module number two will be, let's say, your we can say that your product management, your user management. The third module your user management. Fourth module your cart management. Fifth module is your payment management, like doing the payment. So in this incremental model, what we will do, because we don't have all the requirement with us, we will have the initial requirement, we will have the 30 or 40% requirement, and client also want to see the small module. So what we will do, we will pick up a small module, capture the requirement on that, and we will apply the waterfall model in that small module. Are you getting my point? So can you see that in the increment number one has one, that is a communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. So all these phases applied to the module one. So once it is developed, we will show it to the client. Okay, so this is module one is ready. Please see this, please check this. If it is fine, then we will develop a module number two. Okay, in the module number two, again we will repeat that phases: communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. Yes, you already know that all these phases: communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. Similarly, in the increment number three, communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. Okay, so this process follows on, right? This process follows on. So what we are saying, we are applying the waterfall, but in the waterfall model, but into the small modules, but in the incremental. So ultimately, when you on the first incremental number one, we will have one module ready. When we apply incremental number two, we will have two module software ready. When incremental number three, we will have three software modules ready with us. Okay. So after the n number of incremental, will be having our software ready. So after completion of the each and every increment, we will show this product, we will show this each and every increment to the client. We will get the feedback and update that product, and we'll move towards the next increment. Okay, so are you getting my point? This is the increment model. Okay, so now let's towards when to use. Yes, used when the requirements are well understood. Again, yes, requirements are well understood, but in the small modules, multiple independent deliverables are identified. So we will divide your project into the small parts, small modules. Workflow is linear, fashioned within the increment and is staggered between the increments. Yes, workflow is linear, means we are following the waterfall model, but into the small module, but into the increments. Iterative in nature, focuses on the operational product with each increment. Okay, yes, it is a iterative. Yes, we can go back to the first module and change that. We can go to the any module and we can change that. It is iterative. Provides a needed set of functionality sooner while delivering optional components later. Okay, so this is an important thing. As I told you, yes, you have the requirement, but what is client saying is that in a, like, let's say client has explained you that I want to develop an e-commerce website. Okay, and but on the first 5 days, I want login module ready, and on the next week I want let's say the user module ready. So what will be your priority? Your priority will be to develop a login module. So this is a sentence for that: provides a needed set of functionality. So client will provide needed functionality for the login. So you will be doing the increment number one. For this login module, you will apply all the waterfall model into that, right? Then the useful also when the staffing is too short for a full scale development. Also, when you don't have enough number of developers to work with you, when you have small team working with you, when you don't have your bigger team, then this is also the model is suitable, because you have the whole large project with you. A project will take a year or a 2 year of time on the, because but you don't have a team. So what you will do, you will develop a small parts, right? Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So I hope the incremental model will be much more explained to you. If you have any doubts, you can put your comments. I will explain, I will give answer into the next videos as well as onto the comments. Okay, so this is the increment model. Yes, we will see the prototype model into the next video lectures, not now onwards. But I want to explain you, we want to be more clear of this model, because we have around 4 to 5 models and we don't want to be confused in that models. We have to capture the models according to the requirements, because this is a real-time subject. See, this is where the project manager, this is where the CTO, chief technical manager of the officer of the company comes into the picture. They get the requirements, they have the 5 to 6 model to choose. They will choose like which model to choose to work on, right? Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So before moving towards again, I would like to have a quick recap on that, so you will get into all this thing and you can write down your questions. Yes, we have seen the prospective process, generic process. We have seen the different phases like communication, planning, modeling, construction, and deployment. Yes, modeling, we have seen that modeling is like drawing the architecture, defining the diagrams, different types of modeling, architecture design, user interface design, component level design, architectural design, the use case diagram and the activity diagrams and all that, user interface design, UI design, which you are showing like when you visit a facebook.com, you will see the page of the Facebook, right? Then you will have the traditional process model, which will define a distinct set of activities, action, tasks to be performed to develop a software, right? Then you will have this waterfall model, we already seen that, which have the communication, project initiation, planning, modeling, construction, deployment. Yes, I think we are like mastered to this waterfall model, because we have covered 3 to 4 to 5 times, because it is really important to understand that this is a basic model of the software process, right? Then this is where we have to focus more, like where to use on each model. We have to focus when to use this model and when not to use this model, because we have to understand that. Yes, this is always software lifecycle used when the requirements are well understood. Workflow is linear, used often with the well-defined applications or the enhancement to the current uh, software. Okay, and the problems, yes, doesn't support the iteration, so change can cause a confusion, difficult for the customers to state all the requirements explicitly and upfront, requires a customer patience, because working version of the program doesn't occur until the final phase. Problems can be somewhat elevated in the model through the addition of the feedback loops. Okay, yes, this is the feedback. The waterfall model can be optimized with adding the loop, so that change in any phase can reflect to the all the phases with this loop provided over here. Like when you are changing a code, it feedback will be given to modeling, change here, feedback will be given to planning, change will here, will feedback will be given to communication, again to planning, modeling, to construction. So when you change here, change will apply to backwards, and once all changes are applied, then changes will be applied into the forward forward position. So I hope you are getting my point. Yes or no? And finally we have seen the incremental model. We will we will divide a project into small modules. The first module requirements are more clear. We will develop that. In that first module, we will provide the incremental approach. We will provide the waterfall model steps into that, like in the increment number 1, communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. We'll show it to the client, it's approved, we'll start increment number 2, communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. Yes, when to use, used when the requirements are well understood, multiple independent deliverables are identified, workflow is linear, yes, within the increments only, iterative in nature, yes, we know that, provides a need of set of functionality sooner, right? And the useful when staffing is too short, yes, when you have less number of developers, you have small team, this is more important, it's useful. Okay, so thank you very much for watching a video. We'll be covering the next models into the next videos. Thank you very much. Bye bye.